Alright guys, here's the full review of the Escapement Time Pilot Chronograph. So if you haven't seen the unboxing, I'll leave a link to that up here if you want to quickly check that one out. But suffice to say, it's nothing too flash. Your standard Escapement Time packaging gets the job done. But getting back onto the watch, if you're interested in picking one of these up as well before I start, I will be leaving a link down in the description. That is an affiliate link, so I will get a bit of commission back on that, but it doesn't cost you any more. So if you do want to support the channel, please consider using that, as it really helps. So getting back to this, as you can see, if you look at the subdial at the 3 o'clock, this is actually quartz, but don't let that put you off. Sometimes people can be a little bit funny about quartz pieces, but I personally think every collection should have at least 1 or 2 quartz pieces in it. If they're well made, they're really reliable, and they're just nice to have, to be able to just pick up a watch and then go without having to set it. If you've only got automatics, you can't do that. Plus it's nice to have at least 1 quartz piece to be able to set your other automatics, because you know that's always going to be right. So seeing as we're talking about those subdials already, let's go on to the movement. So the movement in this is a Miyota 6S21, and as you can see, obviously it's a chronograph. So push down the top pusher once, and then you've got the chrono hand engaged, so that starts going around. And then obviously you push it again, it'll stop. And then if you press the bottom one, we have actually got the flyback on this instead of snapback, which is nice. And then with that subdial at the 9, that's obviously the hour. So that will go up into an hour. As for the rest of the movement, got the crown there, pull it out once, and then we can change the date, which is at the 6 o'clock, which is nice. Helps with the symmetry of the dial, I think. Especially if we've got the symmetry of those 2 subdials. I wouldn't want to see the date where, let's say, like the 4:30, look a bit odd. So it looks where it should be there, down at the 6, if you can have one at all. Some people don't like them, prefer a sterile dial, or a cleaner dial. But I actually quite like the date function, find it very useful. But pull it out again. As you can see, second hand stopped, so we have actually got hacking on this. And then obviously you can change the time. And then push it back in again, and second hand re-engages. So speaking of those hands, I'll just zoom in quickly. You could probably see they are actually blued, which is nice. Just adds a little pop of colour to an otherwise rather plain dial. And we can also see as well, those subdials are actually slightly sunken, which is a nice touch. Just adds a little bit more interest to the dial again. Because with it being a Flieger, it's pretty sterile, pretty clean dial. All applied indices, all printed indices, nothing applied. And then we've got those Arabics at the 1, 5, 7 and 11. Because obviously we can't have them with the others due to those subdials. So that looks interesting. And then obviously we've got that triangle with the 2 dots either side of the 12. They are actually loomed, all them, but we'll get onto that in a bit. First of all, let's go over the rest of the watch. So if you've watched my other Flieger video, the Escapement Time one, you might recognise this strap, because it is actually pretty much identical. In fact, I'll quickly show you. This is the one I'm on about. So as you can see, I think they are the same strap. Same unsigned buckle, same lovely orange on the back. Also, while we're around the back as well, we have actually got the plane on both of them as well. Albeit the one on the automatic is actually embossed, whereas this one is just etched. But still looks good, still nicely done. While we're around here as well, let's get on to all the text around the outside as well. So we've got Pilot Quartz, made in China. Then we've got, if I can get it to focus, 100 meters water resistant, Sapphire Crystal, stainless steel, and the fact that it's escapement time. We'll be checking all those other bits in a bit, whether we've got Sapphire Crystal. But for now, let's get on to the measurements. So we've got a thickness of just over 11mm, which is quite nice, not too thick. Then we've got a diameter of 40mm, lug width of 20mm, and a lug to lug of about 48, just over. So pretty nice dimensions, not too big. Some people say that pilot watches should be bigger. I think it's personal preference, to be honest. I don't mind either way. I wouldn't go bigger than 42, personally, with my 7-inch wrist, but again, personal preference. But I think this one should be good. If people thought the other one was a bit big, this might be a better option for you if you've got a slightly smaller wrist. So let's check whether we've got Sapphire Crystal on this then. Using the trusty Diamond Selector 2. So as you can see, yep, we have got Sapphire Crystal, which is always nice to have. So now let's check out the loom on this. So as you can see, already that's looking pretty good, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. So there we go. Really does look good. I was actually pleasantly surprised when I first did this as well, because I wasn't expecting loom on the subdials, or also, if I quickly move this out of the way, around the date window as well. It's a really nice touch. Obviously the loom around the date window and the subdials doesn't last as long, because there's just not as much area to put loom on there, but it's a nice touch to have it. And as you can see, the rest of the dial is looking really nice, and those hands as well. They really do look good. And it does last a decent amount of time as well, because the loom on this is actually C1. So it's not the best, but obviously given the price of the watch, you're not going to be getting that, you're not going to be expecting it. But this is really doing well. I've been pleasantly surprised with how long it lasts. So if you do want a nice cheap pilot watch, which is also a chronograph and has pretty decent loom as well, you can't really go wrong with this one. I definitely recommend it. So all it's left to do now is show it you on wrist. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. Looks really good, I think. I really do love the symmetry of that dial, but that's probably just me. Bit of OCD going on there. I like things to be symmetrical. And again, same kind of strap as the other Flieger pilot watch, which I also really liked. Really comfortable, really suits the watch nicely. Stitching's done really well. Nice bit of a taper there as well. So overall, I think it's a really good watch. I really don't understand why some people don't like quartz pieces at all. Especially if you've got one like this, where you've got just a small second hand, where it's not as noticeable. If you've got a large second hand, possibly, yeah, I understand. You don't really want to be looking at that. It can be a little bit off-putting maybe, because it doesn't have the smooth sweep of an automatic. But with this one, you just don't really notice it. And I think given everything else you're getting with this watch, I just don't see it being an issue. So I definitely recommend this one. It's got a good loom, it's got a chronograph function. It's just a good looking watch all round, to be honest. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.